GCS News, the Summer Camp Edition. I'm Mr. Mark, and yes, I'm wearing a pink tie. We start this week, as we do every week, with songs of worship, so please stand up, clear your throats, and sing along.
Death is beaten, you have rescued me. Sing it out, Jesus is alive. The empty cross, the empty grave, life eternal, you have won the day. Shout it out, Jesus is alive. He's alive. Jesus, you are mine. Oh, in this joy of perfect peace, earthly pain finally will cease. Celebrate, Jesus is alive. He's alive. Oh, happy day, happy day. You wash my sin away. Oh, happy day, I'll never be the same. Oh no, forever I am changed. And oh, what a glorious day, what a glorious way that you have saved me. And oh, what a glorious day, what a glorious name. Jesus, oh, happy day, you wash my sin away. Oh, happy day, I'll never be the world. You are the light that's beautiful, and I want more. I want all that's yours. Yeah, joy unspeakable, it won't go away. Just enough strength to live for the day, so I'll never have to worry what tomorrow may bring. 'Cause my faith is on solid rock. I am counting on God. I am counting on, I am counting on God. I am counting on, I am counting on God. I am counting on, I am counting on God. I am counting on, I am counting on God. Sing it! The miracle of Christ in me is the mystery that sets me free. I'm nothing like I used to be. Just open up your eyes, you'll see. The miracle of Christ in me is the mystery that sets me free. I'm nothing like I used to be. Just open up your eyes, you'll see. Joy unspeakable that won't go away. Just enough strength to live for the day, so I'll never have to worry what tomorrow may bring. 'Cause my faith is on solid rock. I am counting on God. I am counting on, I am counting on God. I am counting on, I am counting on God. I am counting on, I am counting on God. I am counting on, I am counting on God. Joy unspeakable, it won't go away. Just enough strength to live for the day, so I'll never have to worry what tomorrow may bring. 'Cause my faith is on solid rock. I am counting on God. I am counting on, I am counting on God. I am counting on, I am counting on God. I am counting on, I am counting on God. I am counting on, I am counting on God. Alone in my sorrow and dead in my sin, lost without hope, with no place to begin. Your love made a way to let mercy come in. When death was arrested and my life began, ash was redeemed, only beauty remains. And my orphan heart was given a name. My mourning grew quiet, my feet rose to dance. When death was arrested and my life began. Oh, your grace, so free, washes over me. You have made me new, now life begins with you. It's your endless love pouring down on us. You have made us new, now life begins with you. Released from my chains, I'm a prisoner no more. My shame was a ransom he faithfully bore. He canceled my debt and he called me his friend. When death was arrested and my life began. Oh, your grace, so free, washes over me. blade on a criminal's cross. And darkness rejoiced as though heaven had lost. But then Jesus arose with our freedom in hand. That's when death was arrested and my life began. Oh, your grace so free washes over me. You have made me new, now life begins with you. It's your endless love pouring down on us. You have made us new, now life begins with you. Oh, we're free, free, forever we're free. Come join the song of all the redeemed. Yes, we're free, free, forever, amen. When death was arrested and my life began. Oh, we're free, free, forever we're free. Come join the song of all the redeemed. Yes, we're free, free, forever, amen. When death was arrested and my life began. When death was arrested and my life began. When death was arrested and my life began.
Come on, let's sing. I was buried beneath my shame. Who could carry that kind of weight? It was my tomb till I met you. I was breathing but not alive. All my failures I tried to hide. It was my tomb till I met you. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. Come on, with one voice. Now your mercy has saved my soul. Now your freedom is all that I know. The only knew Jesus when I met you. When you called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You called my name and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. Come on. I needed be rescued. My sin was heavy, the chains break at the weight of your glory. I needed shelter, I was an orphan. Now you call me a citizen of heaven. When I was broken, you were my healing. Now your love is the air that I'm breathing. I have a future, my eyes are open. 'Cause when you called my name, I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. Come on, let's praise Him together.
That was awesome. And now for this message.
There's something we all need to know if you want to keep that healthy glow. Remind your friends in courteous terms. Let's spread the word and not the germs. Wash your hands, it's the right thing to do. It's easy when you only have to. Wash your hands, keep them clean, oh yeah. Hey, hey, wash your hands. But if you find you're not feeling well, like too many trips around the carousel, call the doctor, that's what you do. The doc will take good care of you, and you'll feel better too. Wash your hands and make your mother proud, and maybe you can join the popular crowd. Wash your hands like 50 times a day, oh yeah. Hey, hey, wash your hands. Wash your hands.
We now turn to the world of news and Bible report. Here's our field reporter, Mr. Scott. Take it away, Mr. Scott.
Hi, boys and girls. Mr. Scott here. Did you know that 20-some years ago I moved here to Indiana? And before that, I lived in the panhandle of Florida. Not the fun part of Florida, where there's Disney World, Universal, and beaches. The northern part of Florida, where there's red ants and humidity and not a whole lot of fun things to do. In fact, there wasn't really anything to do where I lived except to go hunting and fishing. I never became much of a hunter, but I did learn how to fish and to enjoy it very much. Specifically bass fishing. Now, if you go out and you don't care what kind of catch you make, you can catch a fish. But if you want to catch a bass, sometimes you have luck and sometimes you don't. But they're a lot more fun to catch, at least I think so. The other day, a friend of mine told me about a local pond not too far from Greenwood Christian Church that he thought didn't get fished very often and had some big bass in it. That kind of excited me. And so yesterday, I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, grabbed my fishing poles, and walked to this pond. I was pretty excited. I just knew there was a big bass in there with my name on it, and I was going to catch him. Well, I tried hula poppers, and I tried tiny torpedoes, and I tried plastic worms and little rubber crawfish, and I fished the early morning hour because that's usually a good time to catch fish. You know, they wake up and they're thinking, what's for breakfast? And if you have the right lure, it could be your fish. Well, I fished for over an hour. The sun came up and then began to climb into the sky. And guess how many fish I caught? 0. Guess how many bites I had? 0. Now, I could have switched to a worm or something and maybe caught some bluegills or some red ear, put some stink bait on there and caught a catfish, but I really wanted a bass, and I didn't get one. So I quit and I went home. Actually, it was still early enough to crawl back into bed and get another hour sleep before I got up. I tell you that story of mine because it reminds me of a story that Jesus performed in the New Testament. When he was getting ready to call his special helpers that we call the disciples or the apostles, 4 of them that he chose were fishermen. Peter, Andrew, James, and John, 2 sets of brothers. And when he went to their site to recruit them for his journey, his 3.5-year ministry, doing incredible things, some of the miracles that you remember and some of the great teachings that he had, and just being a fantastic guy who eventually died for our sins and rose from the grave and now lives in heaven for us. But when he went to recruit the apostles, he went down to the Sea of Galilee and he asked these guys to come aboard. And before he did, though, he said, "How has the fishing been?" It had been lousy. One of those days like I had the morning this week. No bites. Nothing. They'd been out all night because, like me, they knew that fish sometimes bite when it's dark and when it's cooler, and they had had no luck. And Jesus said, "Well, throw your nets down on the other side of the boat." Well, they were probably thinking, "Look, Jesus, you grew up in a carpenter shop." Joseph, the earthly father of Jesus, was a carpenter and probably taught Jesus all the things about making cribs and maybe even houses and tables and chairs. But I don't know how good of a fisherman Jesus was. And these 4 guys, that's what they did for a living. That was their jobs. They knew how to fish. And they had to be thinking, "Jesus, if you were telling us how to build something or how to make something out of wood, we think we could probably do that. But you don't really know anything about fishing." But they didn't say anything. They just dropped the net on the other side of the boat. You can imagine what happened. They had to call for help to pull the nets back up into the boat because they were so heavy with fish. All day and all night long, those guys had fished and caught zilch, nada, 0. But when Jesus showed up, all of a sudden their stinky day turned into a wonderful day. I wish Jesus could go fishing with me because I've got 2 big bass on my office wall and I'm looking for a 3rd one. You know, maybe something about 12 pounds. Here in Indiana, that would be a huge bass, and I would love to catch it. But I haven't yet. Those guys were so impressed, and they immediately left their boats, and they left their families, and they followed after Jesus for 3.5 years and were his special team. Now, what I want you to understand from this story is it can happen for you too. Now, I'm not talking about fishing. I'm talking about days that you would rather not have. Days where you've tried really hard to do something and it just hasn't worked out. Maybe it could be, you spent 2 hours on your math homework and you just couldn't figure it out. Or your dad gave you a chore that you thought was going to take 15 minutes and there 3 hours later you're still doing it. And you're thinking, "Oh my gosh, what a terrible day." Jesus can take terrible days where nothing is going right and turn them into beautiful days where everything is wonderful. Just like he did for those fishermen. And I want you to remember that because, hey, I know some of these days right now are stinky. I'm wearing my Camp Allendale program director shirt, and I don't get to be a program director at Camp Allendale this summer, and I think that stinks. You don't get to go be a camper at Camp Allendale this summer, and that stinks even worse. It's a bad day. It's a bad summer, but there are some good things. I already happen to know, that some of you are headed down to Universal and Disney even this month when they reopen their amusement parks. And some of you are headed to the mountains for a camping adventure or to the beach to build sandcastles and play in the surf. And I hope some of you get to do those very things. But the next time you're having a stinky day, remember that Jesus can turn a day that doesn't look very good, a day that's unsuccessful, a day where you've tried and failed, and turn it into something exciting and successful and blessed. I hope you remember that. I'll see you all next week. Bye-bye, kids.
Excellent. Thanks again, Mr. Stott, and as always, informative and entertaining. And now, this message.
It's fun to wash your hands, and I know you understand. So we washy, clean, scrub, scrub. We start with washing palm to palm. Between each finger, let us rub. Now the back of the hands, it's such a simple plan. We washy, clean, scrub, scrub. Clean the base of the thumbs one by one. Then the back of the fingers, this is fun. Don't forget your fingernails, it's about details. We washy, clean, scrub, scrub. Now move on to the wrist. washy, clean, scrub, scrub. It's fun to wash your hands, and I know you'll understand. We washy, clean, scrub, 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 scrub.
Welcome back. And now this week's News of the Odd. This week we're in Italy. Italy is a country that is known for being a place full of art, life, and romance. It's become an incredibly popular tourist destination because many of the interesting things to do in the country. You can spend a lot of time in there and still feel as though there is more to see and get to know Italy's facts. If you have any interest in Italy due to your heritage or simple curiosity, then you might be interested to learn some of the fun facts about Italy. Interestingly, all 3 active volcanoes that are located in Europe can be found in Italy. This is one of the most interesting facts of Italy. These 3 volcanoes are Etna, Stromboli, and Vesuvius. You might be familiar with Vesuvius' reputation as it's responsible for one of the most famous volcanic eruptions in history. The eruption in the year 79 caused a significant amount of destruction, and the story of Vesuvius endures today for that very reason. These volcanoes are monitored very closely by the Italian government and scientific groups. The goal of the government and these scientists is to ensure the safety of the citizens in the event of an eruption. No catastrophic eruptions has occurred for a long time, but they remain vigilant so that they might have some advance notice of changes within the volcanoes. Using tools such as seismographs and other complicated methods, they are able to glean as much information as possible for these purposes. Pasta has been in use since the 4th century BC. Everyone knows that pasta is a large part of Italian culture. The pasta history is also one of the food facts in Italy that is worth knowing. Many of the finest pasta dishes have been created and perfected in Italy. What you may not know is that the use of pasta in Italy dates back to the ancient history. Historians have been able to place people using pasta dishes in Italy as far back as the 4th century. Interesting facts of Italy don't get much more ancient than that. The prevalence of pasta dishes in the country is something that's been endured for a long time. The cuisine of Italy is one of the most recognizable aspects of the country, so it seems appropriate that the pasta has been in use. Pizza was invented in Naples. The first ever pizza pie was made in Naples at some point back in 1860. It might be hard for you to imagine a time without pizza, as it has become a staple treat for many people's diets across the globe. Pizza has gone through many changes and iterations throughout the time, but the very first simple pizza was created in Champagne region. The people of Naples have gone on to create many different pizza variations throughout the years. Great pizza can still be found there today. That's one of the many reasons why it's worth going to Naples. Honestly, who doesn't love pizza? Italians have created many types of cheeses. The fun facts about Italy are bound to be filled with their fair number of Italian food facts. Italians are credited with creating many different types of cheeses. One of the most commonly enjoyed cheeses that was created in Italy is Parmesan, which was created around the city of Parma. Other cheeses created include Italian mozzarella, gorgonzola, ricotta, and provolone. Italy has more earthquakes than the rest of Europe. Italy is known to have more earthquakes than other countries in Europe, and sometimes these natural disasters can prove deadly. The most recent earthquake that had deadly results was back in 1980. The earthquake occurred in Naples and took the life of an estimated 3,000 people. Although earthquakes do not occur with incredible regularity, the people of Italy remain mindful of the fact that they are a possibility that they will have to deal with them. Family is extremely important in the Italian culture. The concept of family is very important to Italians, and it isn't uncommon for people to live in a home until they are in their 30s. You will also commonly see older members of the family being taken care of by their sons or daughters. Respect for the institution of family is one of the core Italian values that remains a part of Italian identity for many years. Surely the people of Italy will continue to honor these traditions and their families going into the future. The fork was popularized in Italy. If you're looking for odder fun facts about Italy, then you will be interested to hear that the fork was popularized in Italy. In Europe, the fork was not a popular eating utensil until Italians started widely using it. Forks are very convenient when eating pasta, and since pasta dishes are such a staple of the Italian diet, it made sense to adopt forks as a standard tool. The use of forks has eventually spread throughout the rest of Europe and then went worldwide. Here are some fun facts about Italy for kids. As we mentioned in previously, interesting facts of Italy, the family is very important to Italians. Here's a few facts of Italians for children. Christopher Columbus and Marco Polo, both famous explorers, were from Italy. If you look at a map, Italy is known for looking like a high-heeled boot. Most people eat pasta once a day in Italy. And Pinocchio was the first published in Italian newspaper. And now for a look at the weather.
Buonasera. La giornata di domani vedrà ancora sul nostro paese un flusso di correnti perturbate sud-occidentali che tende lentamente ad attenuarsi. Per domani al nord iniziali condizioni di cielo nuvoloso con piogge, ma tendenza a schiarite sulle zone di nord-ovest. Dalla serata schiarite anche a nord-est. Cielo nuvoloso con piogge sparse anche al centro e schiarite sul versante tirrenico dalla tarda mattinata. Al sud cielo parzialmente nuvoloso, con qualche breve piovasco sull'Appennino calabro-lucano, sulla Sardegna, sulla Campania, seguito da schiarite. I venti si manterranno meridionali su Adriatico e Ionio, ma tenderanno a provenire da ovest e a rinforzare su tutto il settore occidentale. Mari sempre tra mossi e molto mossi, tendenti ad agitare il mare di Sardegna e l'Alto Tirreno. La giornata di domenica vedrà schiarite sempre più ampie, ma ciò nonostante nel corso della giornata si avranno formazioni nuvolose associate a piogge sulle aree a ridosso dei rilievi sia alpini che appenninici. Qualche pioggia anche su Campania, Marche e Abruzzo, schiarite dalla serata. La colonnina di mercurio smetterà di salire e le temperature mostreranno un'inversione di tendenza con qualche diminuzione. È tutto e buon fine settimana.
Meteo 3 con la partecipazione di Rovagnati, prosciutto cotto gran biscotto.
Thank you for that weather report. Now we turn to the sports desks. Exciting. Well, that's all the time we have. From us at GCS News, keep your hands clean, your parents happy, and stay healthy.